Good morning, Corpus Christi, Coastal Bend, listeners worldwide. Welcome on in to another edition of the Sunday Sports Rush on News Talk KEYS 1440 AM and 98.7 FM. I am your host, James Espinosa. I'm joined by co-host and producer, Adin Ducker.
What's Gucci with it?
We're also have with us the third Mike, the third member of the Sports Rush. It is Marroquin.
What's up, James? Happy to be here again.
Hell yeah, man. Happy to have you back. It's episode number 92. And if you want to hit us up on the text line, do so at 361-882-5397. That is 361-882-5397. It was a crazy day of sports yesterday. We're going to dive into all that. At 9:50, we have WTF. It's Halloween season, and apparently there's a movie out there that is so gory, it's making people pass out and throw up in movie theaters. We're going to talk about that at 9:50. At 9:30, we have some college football talk. Down goes Bama. We'll talk all that at 9:30. At 9:20, though, I have some troubling Cowboys offensive stats that I want to dive into. It is spooky season out there, and these stats might just scare you to death. Ooh, about the Cowboys offense. At 10:30 in the second hour, we're going to have Tony Catalina of Blogging the Boys to talk some Cowboys and Eagles with us, so stick around for that. Packed show, tons of Cowboys talk, but right now.
3-2 to Pena. Here's the pitch. And he drives this one to left center field. Back on it, Rodriguez. Onto the warning track. See it rise! See it rise! The Astros lead 1-0 on the jack from Pena. That's what they've been waiting for. Pena lands an uppercut.
And yes, indeed, Steve Sparks from Astros Radio Network. Yesterday, the Astros sweep the Seattle Mariners. They win 1-0 in the 18th inning, thanks to Jeremy Pena's heroics right there with a solo shot in the 18th. You can hear the Seattle fans booing.
Dejected, man. I got to tell you, see it rise, literally.
See it rise. And you know what Steve Sparks did right there? He used Seattle's own slogan against them in the call. Absolutely epic right there. So that game went down yesterday. And man, I don't even know how to describe it, but I watched literally the whole game. 6.5 hours. I watched the entire game from first pitch to last, all 18 innings. I barbecued in between. Like, while the game was going on, I made ribs, sausage, fajitas, poppers, corn, everything. And the game was still going on. It was crazy. Astros win. What are our thoughts? Let's go around the table. I'll start with Adin. Adin, the Astros going to their 6th consecutive American League Championship Series.
I've never been so frustrated that the Astros clinched a playoff series. You know what's funny is that, I was sent out to work in Rockport, so I had to leave early. I didn't even get to see any ounce of the game. And then it was just funny because nobody wanted to score, and we basically got 2 full games worth of baseball.
Yes.
And I remember I got done in Rockport about around 8 o'clock, and so I was, it's a 45-minute drive back home.
Yeah.
And I heard, hearing it on the Astros radio network and whatnot. And Luis Garcia, man, he just came in those final 5 innings and delivered a masterclass. And how in the postseason starters were struggling being brought out of the bullpen. You saw that with Tayon of the Yankees, and then you saw what happened with Robbie Ray.
Yes.
And Jordan. We'll play that a little shortly.
We'll play that one here in a little bit. No, you make a good point right there, though. Luis Garcia pitched his ass off
And don't forget the actual starters, Lance McCullers.
Exactly.
He took 6 innings of no-run baseball for the Astros.
Lance McCullers is a straight-up gamer, probably one of the more competitive pitchers I've ever seen witness. And that slider and curveball combination that he has is just pure filth.
He is a DAWG dog on the mound.
And we still got him signed for at least 3 or 4 more seasons.
Exactly. Marcos, you mentioned Lance McCullers. 6 innings pitched, 2 hits, gave up 2 walks, 7 Ks. But then, let's talk about the bullpen a little bit. Because Hector Neris came in, Rafael Montero came in, Ryan Presley came in, Brian Abreu came in, Ryan Stanek came in. They combined, went 5 innings, 2 hits, 0 walks, 8 Ks. Those 5 pitchers.
Yeah, that was a little worrisome because Dusty never brought him out the first couple of games, but now, Ryan Stanek,
And, Presley got himself into a little bit of a jam, too. There was 2 runners on, I think, in the 9th inning when Presley was in the game. And it looked like the Mariners might have a walk-off win, but they ended up holding on. Hunter Brown, the rookie, came in for 2 innings. 1 hit, 1 walk, 1 K. And then you mentioned Luis Garcia, 5 innings pitched. 2 hits, 0 walks, 6 Ks. 18 innings pitched combined for all pitchers. 7 hits, 0 runs, 0 earned runs, 3 walks, 22 strikeouts. One of the greatest combined pitching performances of all time from the entire staff.
This was the game. This was the kind of game that proved my point that I'm very confident in this Astros pitching, this pitching staff.
It's such a luxury for Dusty Baker to say, you know what? Let me throw Luis Garcia in there because he's a bona fide starter. And if the game would have continued longer than 18, Urquidy was already warming up, and he's another starter who could go 6 or 7 innings.
Right.
So, the Astros' depth.
Javier wasn't going to pitch. They would have wrote out Garcia and Urquidy because they probably, I think they were going to start Javier in a potential Game 4.
Yeah, you're right about that. So the Astros get the epic 1-0 win. Speaking of epicness, we'll play one bit of audio, and then we'll start talking about the other games here. If you have any takes on yesterday's Major League Baseball madness, hit us up on the text line, 361-882-5397. We'll be taking them all show long. Game 1 ended in an epic fashion when Yordan Alvarez hit a walk-off bomb in the 9th inning with, I believe it was... He was down to his
down 2 runs.
Yeah, down 2 runs.
With 2 outs.
Yeah, down 2 runs with 2 outs, and then Rob Ford of the Astros Radio Network had this epic call. Just let it play and enjoy this.
The 0-1. And Alvarez belts it deep to right field. Instant goodbye. Unbelievable. The Astros a walk-off win. Yordan Alvarez a walk-off 3-run homer. And the Astros stun the Mariners in Game 1 of the division series. Incredible!
The House of Horrors for the Seattle Mariners continues as they mob Alvarez by home plate.
I love Ford and Sparks. They're so great together.
And the MLB Network, I believe, or it was either them or the actual MLB account, but they released an actual, unedited raw audio footage of what Minute Maid sounded like, and man, that was loud, man.
So the Astros move on to the ALCS. Their 6th consecutive ALCS. That is an American League record, by the way.
The series, I know Game 2 was also tight as well. Alvarez another game-winning homer later on in that game in the 6th inning.
Yeah,
but the Mariners lost that series in Game 1. Had they taken Game 1. Honestly, if the Mariners win Game 1, the Astros might be in the situation the other top teams are in right now.
So let's talk about some of the other games. Let's go to the Yankees game from yesterday. We have audio of the game-winning hit from Oscar Gonzalez. Guardians beat the Yankees 6-5 in the bottom of the 9th.
Here it comes. A swing and a liner back up the middle, base hit into center. Here comes Kwan. Here comes Rosario. The Guardians win. He's done it again. Oscar Gonzalez. A 2-out, 2-strike, 2-run single to center.
Crazy.
A mob scene in right.
2 outs.
A 3-run 9th inning. And for the 13th time this year, Cleveland, trailing after 7 innings, has come from behind to win it.
That was Tom Hamilton on the call of the Guardians Radio Network. 2 outs, 2 strikes. Gonzalez does it again. That's his 3rd game-winning hit this postseason, Oscar Gonzalez. And the Guardians are now up 2-1 over the Yankees. Marcos, what are your thoughts on this particular series?
Honestly, this whole postseason has just been absolutely historic. He's already tied the career record for postseason go-ahead or walk-off hits in a career, and he's a rookie in his first postseason. Mr. Clutch, to say the absolute very least about this guy. He has stepped up for this team every single time he's had an at-bat when they needed it most.
It's insane to see, man. And now the Yankees are on the verge of elimination. Oscar Gonzalez, real quickly,
Yeah.
and David Ortiz are the only players in MLB history with 3 go-ahead hits in the 9th inning or later. So he's actually tied with Big Papi, and we all know how clutch Big Papi was. But like Marcos just said, he's a damn rookie, and he's doing this stuff. So the Yankees
He's played 5 postseason games, and he's already making history.
Exactly. So the Yankees are on the verge of
Gut
elimination.
punch loss for the Yankees.
I am so happy.
Yankees fans were stunned, man.
So happy that the Yankees are losing right now. I'm sad for Jose Trevino, of course, Corpus Christi's son.
I mean, it's not his fault the Yankees.
yeah,
you
but
know.
we hate the Yankees here. Just be facts. Let's just say what it is.
But to be frank, they're the better team. They are the better team in this series, but the Guardians are really hot right now. And
Are
you're seeing that
they?
all across the postseason. Yes, I believe everyone.
This Guardians team is very scrappy, and Francona is a better manager than Aaron Boone. Like we know that now.
Man, yeah, you got to really think about Francona, too. Been there, done that. He's led multiple teams. I mean, that is a good point right there. Francona over Boone. But go ahead, Alex. Or go ahead, Marcos.
I could see that, but up and down the roster, this whole year, everyone's the Yankees. They have a better rotation. They have a better bullpen. But this Guardians, they're a really hot team, and you're seeing that around the league. The teams that are hot are the teams that are winning. You got the Phillies beating the Braves.
Yes,
because
good point.
they're hot, not because they're the better team. The Braves have been the better team all year long. They look like they were going to be dominant, but the Phillies are hot, and I think that's what we're seeing right now with Cleveland.
Yeah, the Phillies.
So let's talk about the Phillies real quick. That was a good segue right there, Marcos. Phillies defeat the Braves. The Phillies advance to their first ever NLCS since 2010. It is Bryce Harper's first National League Championship Series in his career. Quite frankly, they dominated the Braves this whole series. It was never really that close.
Yeah, game 1 got tied at the end, but overall, yeah. I mean, these Phillies remind me of the 2019 Nats and last year's Braves.
They scare me, bro. They scare me a little bit.
They have a lot of bats when they get hot, they get hot.
They've always had talent on their team. They just, the managerial change they made really did wonders for them. Like this is like
Rob Thompson is the guy.
This is a top team. I mean, they have just as good amount of talent as anybody else that's left remaining.
So here's a stat about the Phillies and when Rob Thompson took over. The Phillies were 22-29 when Rob Thompson took over the team, and now they're on their way to the NLCS.
So basically, since he's taken over, they are basically at a 100-win pace.
Pretty much, yeah. And now the Phillies are only one of 4 teams entering the postseason that had fewer than 87 wins. So the Phillies came into the postseason with 87 wins.
Yeah. Now the Braves, they're. I didn't hate the Braves, but they were a thorn in the side last year. The Astros, and just seeing them gone. They won the World Series already. It was time for somebody else to come up.
So here's. Go ahead.
I mean, do you have time to move on real quick?
Quickly, we can talk Dodgers.
Oh my goodness, man!
Dodgers are done.
They are.
The Padres
done.
defeat the Dodgers.
What a great! You know what? The Dodgers, the first 6 innings, man, they had that game under control. I was already ready to be like, oh, all the other teams won.
Yeah, we're gonna get a game 5.
Game 5, I was like, the Dodgers are alive. And then in the 7th inning, because I saw this, the Padres stringed up together several singles, man. And Juan Soto had a clutch hit to tie the game, and then Jake Cronenworth,
the Crone Zone,
2-out, 2-run double, and
He's been big for them. He's been really big.
And the
for
Padres bullpen closed the deal the rest of the way.
Did Josh Hader come in the game?
He came in and shut it down. 1, 2, 3 strikeouts at the 9th.
I can't believe the Brewers gave him away like that. And then you got to give credit to the Padres for making those moves at the deadline. They got Hader, they brought in Juan Soto. And now they're going to a National League Championship Series against the Phillies. Nobody had Padres versus Phillies.
No.
Nobody.
And like we're talking, like I mentioned earlier, they're a hot team. The Dodgers had 111 wins this year.
Dave Roberts did the Dave Roberts thing again. He had Tyler Anderson pitched a gem through 5 or 6 innings, only gave up 2 hits and had 6 strikeouts. He decided, okay, I'm going to bring out my bullpen, and just made the wrong moves.
Remember when Dave Roberts said this at the beginning of the season?
March 24th.
That they were going to win the World Series.
Oh, they were doomed. They were doomed from then. And I was like, they're going to have a really good regular season, and then it's going to come crashing down. And yet it did. So
Great.
Honestly, at times, since Jose Trevino's a Yankee, I actually hate the Dodgers the most, and just seeing them lose was so therapeutic,
Satisfying.
ending to a great baseball day.
Yesterday was amazing. If you have any thoughts on the baseball slate from yesterday, hit us up 361-882-5397. Coming up next, I have a Cowboys offensive stat that is going to scare you and shake you to your core. Stick around for that. You're listening to the Sunday Sports Rush. Welcome back to episode number 92 of the Sunday Sports Rush. We're with you till 11 a.m. Coming up in about 10 minutes, we'll talk some college football. We'll talk Texas, Iowa State, Alabama, Tennessee. There was 6 top 25 games yesterday. We'll dive into all that here in 10 minutes' time. James Espinosa, Adin Ducker, Marcos Marroquin with you. It's a Dallas Cowboys game day. Cowboys and Eagles tonight on Sunday Night Football. 7:30 kickoff right here on these airwaves. 6:30 pregame as well, so make sure you listen to us tonight on News Talk KEYS, your official home of the Cowboys here in the Coastal Bend. Speaking of Cowboys, I do have some offensive stats that I compiled through the first 5 games of the season because, let's face facts here, the Cowboys are 4-1. They're winning, and at the end of the day, that's really all that matters. And Bob Sturm, who's been an idol to me, he works up in Dallas at the Ticket. He writes for The Athletic. We've actually interviewed him on this show before. So he's the Sports Rush's own Bob Sturm. He always says this, and I truly believe this. You do not apologize for winning, ever. You win the game, you stack W's, you move on. With that being said, though, it does not mean that we can just ignore glaring issues with wins and how wins are being compiled. And with the Cowboys offense through the first 5 games of the season, it's been pathetic, guys. Absolutely pathetic. They are 27th in total offense. Now, here are the stats that I've compiled that I want to kind of give you guys to give you a sense of where the Cowboys offense is right now and why this offense cannot be sustainable going forward if they continue to play like this. You will not win many games if your offensive stats look like this. Here they go. The Cowboys are 25th in points scored through 5 games, 30th in first downs, 27th in yards per game, 27th in passing yards per game, 29th in third down conversions, 25th in the red zone, and 28th in explosive plays. Literally, the Dallas Cowboys are a bottom third offense, and they are winning simply because of this. They're number 1 in not turning the ball over, and their defense is playing their absolute asses off. This is not Cooper Rush. Cowboys fans out there who think Cooper Rush should remain the starting quarterback. Cooper Rush is doing enough to get by. But all these stats I just read to you, do you really want a Cooper Rush-led offense for an entire season like that? Because that is the best it's going to get with Cooper Rush at starting quarterback. That is why Dak Prescott will be the quarterback, needs to be the quarterback, and when he does come back in, I expect some of these offensive numbers to go up a little bit.
Yeah, Dak Prescott's going to come back. Cooper Rush, the good thing is he hasn't turned the ball over. He was close a couple times against the Commanders.
He's been really close.
Yeah, it's you could say that it's one of those like it's one of those Jimmy G, Tom Brady things where you insert him and then the team plays inspired maybe. But
yeah.
Other than that, his play hasn't been. He hasn't. What would the term be? He hasn't moved the needle enough to make this a glaring statement that he needs to start over Dak Prescott. At least when Tony Romo got injured, when Tony Romo got injured, we saw Dak shine.
He brought something new.
I know he had Zeke's rookie year to help him, but something was different about Zach. I mean, Dak
and Zeke.
I just did.
You just did a Jerry Jones.
I just did a Jerry.
Zach.
Let me find it. Hold on.
But so that's my point here, guys. Is everybody right now is enamored with the new shiny toy. which is Cooper Rush. He's fresh out of the package. You've had a couple of weeks to enjoy the new shiny object, but we're starting to see some of the ugly warts of Cooper Rush.
He's very shiny, reflective plastic.
Yes, he's not a game breaker, guys. He's doing just enough. The stats I just read, 25th in points. I mean, you're not going to win much games. The Cowboys last weekend against the Rams in their win, they only completed 10 passes. Cooper Rush had 80 net yards passing. 80 net yards passing.
It's old school football. That's what it is. It's old school football. It's don't turn the ball over and don't let them score. That's exactly what it is.
That Tony Pollard run.
That was big.
That was big. You know, I told you, man, I feel like Tony Pollard needs more carries. Like, he just does. I mean, Zeke's been all right, but
Tony Pollard has the juice.
Yeah.
He does. 3-6-1.
That looked like rookie year Zeke, where he just broke away and was elusive. Like, that's what the Cowboys need in this offense.
Hit us up on the text line, 361-882-5397. Let us know your thoughts on the Dallas Cowboys. It's game day against the Eagles. How are you feeling this morning? Can the Cowboys win tonight once again?
I was kind of right about Cooper Kupp. He did eat. 7 catches, 125-something yards, a touchdown.
He did. He did a good job. You're right about that.
And if the Cowboys pass rush didn't go absolutely berserk in the second half, Cooper Kupp would have,
Like I said last week, I called it, Marcos. I said they were going to batter Matthew Stafford with that poor offensive line. They ended up getting 5 sacks on him. Last week, I predicted the Cowboys would get 3 turnovers. Guess what? They got 3 turnovers. They did. They did. They even got a defensive touchdown in the first 3 plays. And if the defense ain't playing like that, the Cowboys don't win that game because these offensive numbers are not inspiring, man.
I don't mean it. I'm going to be that guy, Cowboys fans. I know I'm a little overcritical of Diggs, but it just wasn't his best day in the office.
It wasn't, but on that Cooper Rush touchdown run where he broke away from Diggs and the rest of the defense, there was no safety help at all.
Well,
Malik Hooker was kind of lost in that play, but hey, it happens. It happens. No excuses.
The best corners don't need safety help.
So,
I mean, what?
It happens. No excuses, but Cowboys fans, 25th in points, 30th in first downs, 27th yards per game, 27th passing yards per game, 29th in third downs, 25th in red zone, and 28th in explosive plays. That's unsustainable. That's not going to get it done in the long run. This offense needs Dak Prescott ASAP in order to get to the ultimate goal. And that's going to wrap up that quick little Cowboys segment right there. Coming up next, we have some college football talk. Hit us up on the text line. Get in here. It's the Sunday Sports Rush. We roll on after the break. Welcome back to the Sunday Sports Rush, episode number 92. James Espinosa, Adin Ducker, and Marcos Marroquin.
Real quick, Tom DeLonge is back, baby. They came back together for the kids.
Hey, man.
They did it for us.
I'm going to tell you something right now. As a child of the late 90s, early 2000s, when that was my adolescence, my young adulthood, my teenage years, Blink 182 was on constant repeat, man. This was like, I don't even know how to describe it. In my opinion, they're a legendary kind of punk pop rock band. And, dude, anytime Blink comes on, it's always a jam. And they're going to be going on another tour. They're reuniting. I'm not sure if another album's going to come out of this.
Yeah,
but,
it is.
Okay, good.
Hey, you know how much floor tickets are?
For a show to see reunited Blink 182?
Yeah.
Let me guess, $2,000.
Okay, around between $1,500 and $2,000.
Damn. Any Texas dates? I didn't get to see the
Probably
concert calendar.
I don't know. I have to check.
Well, Blink is back, and we're back. It's episode 92 of the Sunday Sports Rush. Shout out to our guys at Nucky's Cocktail Bar in Kingsville, Texas. That's your spot to go and watch all of the Sunday NFL action. Crafted cocktails, the freshest Texas craft beer and domestics on draft. Mouth-watering wings. Awesome guys down there at Nucky's. Hit them up at 1406 North 14th Street in Kingsville. It's Nucky's Cocktail Bar. All-day happy hour today as well. Let them know that the Sunday Sports Rush sent you. Let's get to Twitter real quick because War Eagle is in here. War Eagle says, he's talking to me directly. He says, at Sir Edward James, you have zero love for Cooper Kupp. He's saying I'm a Cooper Kupp hater.
Cooper Kupp or Cooper Rush?
Oh, Cooper Rush. Yeah. No, he's talking about Cooper Rush. And, I mean, War Eagle, you got to understand, man. I just want what's best for the team, and Cooper Rush is not what's best for the team.
Yeah.
Cooper Rush was cut by the Dallas Cowboys before the season even started. Went through waivers. Nobody picked him up, so Dallas brought him back. Let's not pretend that Dallas had the foresight to see that Cooper Rush would do this. Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones fell ass backwards into this situation because they cut Cooper Rush. They cut him. And he just so happened to clear waivers because nobody else wanted him.
Real quick, War Eagle, bring your boy Favors back. I haven't heard it from him.
We haven't heard from him in a while.
Yeah, man. Hey, Marcos, we this Favors delivers some of the best tweets you've ever seen.
Yeah, these guys are
War Eagle
synonymous
too, but
on our Twitter feed. Fred's in here. Fred says on the text line 361-882-5397, this has been a great weekend for sports. We call this weekend the Contenders versus the Pretenders. Yesterday, all the college games were great. Those baseball playoffs have been unbelievable. And tonight, let's just hope the Cowboys keep it up. I agree, Fred. Good stuff right there. It has been a great sports weekend.
Gotta love October.
Love October sports. All the sports are about to be back. NHL's already started. Basketball starting this week. Love it. Thank you for getting in, Fred. He mentions college football. Let's go ahead and dive right into some college football. Because yesterday, in the midst of the Astros' 18-inning game, Tennessee and Alabama were throwing down an all-time classic up in Knoxville. Tennessee wins 52-49, and we have the game-winning audio from CBS right here.
Chase McGrath for the win for the Volunteers. From 40. On the way, a knuckleball. He got it!
Scenes. Absolute scenes in Knoxville.
And here they come.
The students flooded the field. They tore down the goalpost. It was a party in Knoxville last night. If you look on your Twitter feed and just type in Knoxville, you're going to see how insane things got. Tennessee snaps a 15-year losing streak to rival Alabama.
And Hooker to who's the receiver? Who's that receiver again?
Hyatt.
Just I've said ever since Kirby Smart left, Saban hasn't had a strong defense since, and that was just proved right again.
Hendon Hooker to Jalen Hyatt. Hendon Hooker, quarterback for Alabama, or for Tennessee, I should say. Man, 385 yards, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception. Hyatt, the receiver, 6 receptions, 207 yards, 5 touchdowns. Tennessee was just full of big plays. Bryce Young, on the other hand, had a hell of a game, too. 455 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Gibbs, 103 on the ground for Alabama with 3 touchdowns. This was an all-time classic.
I gotta say, I had little critiques about Bryce Young his first year, but he's cold, man. He's a
dude.
He has that dog in him.
He definitely does, and might be the top quarterback taken in this year's draft.
You're starting to, one thing I hate is a Goliath superpower that barely squeaks by again and again, and finally. Luck wasn't on their side this time. They had the missed field goal again, a typical Bama kicker missing a field goal. And Tennessee, they had the cojones, and I know they had a couple timeouts, but just to go deep like that, and that last pass to get him a field goal was almost picked off, and that would have got sent to overtime.
Is Tennessee officially back?
They have an upcoming matchup with Georgia down the line.
Yes, they do.
If they beat Georgia, then they're for real. But they have to get past Georgia. Georgia's the king right now.
They're gonna move up into the top 5 for sure.
No. They'll be top 3.
You think they'll be 3?
I see Bama and Tennessee switching spots. You put Tennessee at 3, then Bama. Bama, they're not gonna bring down. They're gonna put them at 6.
6, 7, or 8, probably something like that. What were your thoughts on this game, Marcos? I know you. This was the game that you keyed in on this weekend.
Yeah, it was an electric game. I mean, it's one of those games that will be talked about for a while. And like Adin said, Bama finally lost a close one. They squeaked one out to A&M. They squeaked one out with Texas. But those are not Bama wins. They should have been dominant performances. And we haven't really seen that from this team this year. That's why they're dropping.
Yeah, I expected more out of Bama. It turns out, man, Bryce Young's kind of carrying the load. I know they won without him against A&M and a little bit of Arkansas, but it's weird that I've never seen a quarterback be like kind of like carry this team.
It's usually the opposite, right? Remember back in the day, the Blake Sims, the McElroys, the McCarrons, they weren't the reason why Bama was winning.
But you're starting to see, and this is why Nick Saban had a big problem with the NIL rules, where he can't stack the deck anymore, and he can't use his bling to recruit now. You got to pay your players now.
Everybody has money. Everybody can go out there and money whip players.
Yeah,
and you
exactly.
know what? Give credit to Josh Heupel. Give credit to Tennessee, because 18 months ago when they hired Josh Heupel, that was like a laughing stock of a hire. People were criticizing them. People never thought Tennessee would be in this position again. Well, they are.
Well, they got to finish the deal. They have to beat Georgia.
They have to beat Georgia.
Yeah.
And then we'll see what happens from there. Moving on. Texas defeats Iowa State. Number 22, Texas squeaks by Iowa State 24-21.
I got to say, and maybe UT fans will disagree with me, I thought this was a great win for UT just because of all the things that happened. UT was up by 10, and then they give up the lead, and they storm back with a game-winning drive late, and then they get that stop on a controversial play. They thought there was targeting. The Iowa State quarterback was technically, he ran like a running back. He actually put his head down on the play.
Yeah.
And
Anthony Cook, who was the one that would have been called for targeting, he actually hit him shoulder to shoulder.
Exactly.
And the ball came out. Texas recovers. Game over.
No, but I thought it was another repeat of, Texas got comfortable in the third and started playing conservative. It looked like they were going to lose another tight one like they did last year, and then what we saw against Tech.
Texas yesterday couldn't stop a third down to save their life. And you got to give credit to Deckers, the quarterback from Iowa State. You got to give credit to Matt Campbell, Iowa State head coach, because he has his guys ready to play each and every week. And they were game yesterday. Quinn Ewers didn't have a great day at all.
I thought he had a solid game. There was one play where the receiver, I don't know what receiver it was, dropped a basket, easy catch that probably would have been a touchdown.
It was Kane.
Right in the bread basket, that would have blew the game open.
I guess what I'm saying is, in terms of passing yardage, it wasn't a great game. 172 yards, but he did have 3 touchdowns.
I would say it's always been very stingy.
Bijan Robinson, 28 carries, 135 yards, had one hell of a catch to get them down within the 5-yard line. And then Xavier Worthy, 8 receptions, 72 yards, 2 touchdowns. So Texas finds a way to win, which Texas teams haven't usually been able to do the past few years. A game like this, Texas probably would have lost the last year, the year before that, etc. It was a resilient win, and now Texas is setting themselves up to go to Stillwater to play Oklahoma State next weekend in Stillwater, Oklahoma.
Yeah, Oklahoma State they lost a tough one
to TCU.
TCU.
They were still undefeated.
They were up 24-7. TCU made a comeback, and I think they won in overtime, I believe, right?
Yeah. TCU is still undefeated, and that's another great storyline. And Texas still has to play TCU. Texas still has to play Kansas. Texas still has to play Kansas State. They still got to play Oklahoma State. They still got to play Baylor. The rest of the schedule for Texas, it's not going to be easy at all, because the Big 12 this year, top to bottom, is a lot better conference than it's been in years. There's a lot more parity in the Big 12 than ever before.
A tough Baylor team. You got TCU. You got Kansas.
Exactly, like I just said. They still got to play a lot of those guys.
Kansas State.
Yeah. So let's just go over the top 10 real quick, and then we'll wrap up the segment. Georgia, number 1, defeats Vanderbilt 55-0.
Expected.
We talked about Tennessee. Number 6, Tennessee 52. Number 3, Alabama 49. Number 4, Clemson squeaks by on the road against Florida State 34-28. Closer game than expected, but Clemson wins.
I think Florida State made it a little late comeback to make things interesting, but I think Clemson was in control most of that game.
Number 5, Michigan defeats Penn State 41-17. Penn State was ranked number 10. Michigan, I said this in the preseason when we made our predictions. I have Michigan winning back-to-back Big Tens. I have Michigan going to the playoff, and they look good.
You think they're going to beat Ohio State in the U?
I think so.
I mean, in the O, whatever you call it.
I think so. I'd love Michigan style of play.
Was Ohio State off?
Yeah, they were off. They didn't play this week.
Okay, so they're still at number 2, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
My guys from USC were upset last night.
I told you, man.
They lost to number 20 Utah 43-42 in what was a crazy game.
Same Lincoln Riley team, all offense, no defense. It's the same thing. Like, he just basically bought what he did Oklahoma to USC. They'll probably lose another game like that. and then they won't even be in the playoff
They
picture.
need a defense bad, man, because Caleb Williams and company were doing their thing, but the defense couldn't stop Cam Rising and Utah.
I've always called Lincoln Riley a two-faced con, and you know
Wow.
I've always hated. Well, I
Jeez.
hate Lincoln Riley. I don't use the word hate lightly, but I don't like Lincoln Riley.
Number 9, Ole Miss, 48. Unranked Auburn, 34. So Ole Miss is undefeated. They'll probably climb up in the standings a little bit. And then, of course, we just mentioned number 13, TCU, 43. Number 8, Oklahoma State, 40. TCU will probably jump close to 10 in next week's ranking. So there we go. That wraps up our college football discussion. Down goes Alabama. And Texas shows some resiliency yesterday and defeats Iowa State in Austin 24-21. That wraps up our college football talk. Coming up next, though, it's everybody's favorite segment. It is WTF. There's a movie in theaters right now that is so scary, it's causing people to pass out and throw up. We'll talk about that next in WTF. Welcome back to episode number 92 of the Sunday Sports Rush. It's your friendly sports crew here this morning. James Espinosa, Adin Ducker, and Marroquin. Coming up in 10 minutes, we're going to pick some NFL Week 6 games. There's a new top dog in the standings, and I'm just going to go ahead and say it. It's me. So I'm going to gloat about that in 10 minutes, and we'll pick some NFL games with Alex Weister.
This NFL season hasn't been kind to me.
We have a text coming in. 361-882-5397. Chad is in here on the text line.
Chad Shook, co-host of the Babylon Radio Show.
Oh, nice. Shout out to Chad. Awesome. I love y'all show, Chad, by the way. Listen to y'all guys all the time on Saturdays.
Best show about cars I've ever heard.
I love it. Caitlin and Chad do an amazing job. Well, Chad's in here. 361-882-5397. Chad says that the Cowboys need to sign Scotty Kilmer. Rev up your engines. Let's go.
So that's a running joke we have on the Babylon Radio Show that I love Scotty Kilmer, the greatest YouTube mechanic there ever was.
Nice. I've seen some of his videos.
Dude sounds like he drinks a couple beers before he does his
He's
videos,
a little,
right?
how do I say it?
A little tipsy.
Yeah. Just trying
He's funny, though, for his age. He's like in his mid-60s. He has our humor down. Like,
Yeah.
he's a genius, but
You know what, Aiden? If you could ever arrange a Scotty Kilmer interview, I would have him on the Sports Rush.
yeah, he's a hard get.
Is he a hard get?
He has
Okay.
5.5 million subscribers on YouTube.
Whoa! All right, yeah. I don't know. We're not in that range yet, but all right. Well, shout out to Chad for
Rev up your engine!
361-882-5397. Hit us up on the text line with your Cowboys takes or any sports takes that you might have. All right, let's go ahead. It's time for everybody's favorite segment. It is WTF.
What the F-bomb is going on?
That's what the F I'm talking about.
What the is that? Who are you?
What is wrong with you?
There's a new movie out in theaters right now. It's a horror movie. It's Halloween season, so horror movies are coming out. You have the new Halloween that's out with Michael Myers. I mean, how many times has Michael Myers got to die? And then he comes back.
People are tanking that movie.
Yeah, I've heard it's terrible. I don't look.
They said the first one in the trilogy was solid,
Just-
and then the second one there was signs that it was going to go in a bad direction.
I just
guess.
don't need to see old ass Jamie Lee Curtis try and pretend to beat a psychopathic, superhuman strong Michael Myers. I mean, I just don't need that.
Yeah, it was fine bringing her back for the first movie. I don't think they needed to do the trilogy. I feel like they should have just wrote the first movie.
Yeah, I mean,
It
let's
was
just.
for the bag. It
Yeah.
was for the bag.
Yeah.
It's always for the bag and follow
Exactly.
the money, of course. Well, there's a new movie out. It's called Terrifier 2. It's out. It's one of these low-budget movies. The budget for this movie was only $260,000. And the main antagonist in this movie is Art the Killer Clown. And if you look up a picture of Art the Killer Clown, he does look pretty sadistic and pretty frightening.
He's like William Dafoe if he was a clown.
Now, the thing about this movie is Art the Killer Clown, the story is he comes back on Halloween and he brutally murders and disfigures people on Halloween. That's kind of the gist of the story.
Sounds like every other slasher.
But the reason why I'm bringing this one up is because this past week it just hit theaters and audience members are having extreme reactions to the gore in this movie. Some who have seen this movie have shared their thoughts on social media along with some of the intense reactions they witnessed in movie theaters. So just imagine you're in the movie theater and then you see this happening. This is from one poster on Twitter. Hashtag Terrifier 2. My friend passed out and the theater called an ambulance. Highly recommend this movie. Okay. Someone else posted on Twitter. Just saw Terrifier 2. It was amazing, gory mess. The guy behind me passed out cold and crashed into my chair. Another guy left because he didn't feel good. I overheard him say, and walking out the theater door, I heard a guy puking hard and loud in the bathroom. Another person stressed that people who've experienced the movie aren't exaggerating about what it did to them, saying, quote, Terrifier 2, the first movie in my lifetime where I've read reports of people fainting and vomiting in the theater, and then after finally seeing it myself thinking, yeah, I get it. Now,
I just saw
is this weak sauce on these people? Like,
I just saw the trailer
Yeah.
on YouTube. It looks really intriguing, and I'm reading the comments, and a lot of people like it. So I have an eye on it now.
okay, yeah,
I'm gonna check it out. Yeah,
I think I want to check this out too. How
no,
about this?
the comments are very I haven't seen one bad comment.
How about
yet.
this? How about we all see it and then we all give our review?
Is it even gonna be in theaters here?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't know. It's a low budget film, but my point is
It's
this:
probably better than the new Halloween.
the gore in this movie is apparently causing people to pass out and vomit.
This reminds me.
Is that weak sauce?
That's a pass for me.
Is that man card removal from these people, or do you think, man, maybe this movie is that gory? I don't know.
I remember
it's
my
a movie.
mom. I remember my mom when she was little telling me how people like when The Exorcist came out. That was like another groundbreaking like all the stuff that happened in that movie. Like people were throwing up and whatnot. There was like disclaimers and stuff like that. But a good horror movie that has tension, just suspense, a nice bit of gore. My favorite horror movie of all time is John Carpenter's The Thing.
Oh, classic.
Nothing to me tops that movie.
Do you have a favorite horror movie, Marcos?
I'm not a horror movie guy.
If you had to pick one, I mean,
Weak sauce. I mean, what?
which one really scared you from the horror genre?
I couldn't name one.
No?
But my favorite one was probably It.
Okay, it's good. That's a good one.
It
That's a
it's
classic.
solid.
It was all right.
The original or
I
the
liked
new
it.
one?
The first one.
The first one. Wow, the made-for-TV movie. That's a good one. One more quote from a fan who saw Terrifier 2. Quote, if you're planning on seeing Terrifier 2, I'm going to warn you all now, it's the goriest film I've seen since probably Hostel. If you don't like really detailed visceral fatalities, I'd avoid it. Everyone get your ass to your local theater so we get more movies like this.
Yeah, I remember Hostel. I've always wanted to visit Europe, but I'm not visiting brothels in Europe after that movie.
Do you think you'd faint if you went to go see this movie? Are you good with gore?
I'm good with. I'm all right with gore. I'm good. Like I'm good to all right.
Calm down, Dahmer.
I'm not Dahmer. I'm not Dahmer resistant.
You like gore?
No.
All right, just wanted to get that out there. If anybody's seen this Terrifier 2, let us know. Apparently, Terrifier 1 came out back in 2016.
Of course.
It's kind of like
the clown's name is Art.
Art the Clown. Art the Killer Clown. Look him up. He looks terrifying as F.
I've seen a couple people like that down in these parts
Yeah.
that look like that. At least.
But it's I guess it kind of has cult following status now. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a cult classic. It's low budget cult classic. So there we go. Just wanted to kind of bring that up here during this segment. Congressional candidate Mike Ickes just announced his political race by releasing a full-blown sex tape with porn star Nicole Sage. That's the next story. Political candidate.
Was that planned or is that an accident?
No, it was planned. This Manhattan congressional candidate Mike Ickes is letting it all hang out to win the votes, according to this article. He released a sex tape to show he's got the goods to go to Washington. He's in favor of legalizing sex for like pretty much like legalizing prostitution. That's what he's in favor for. So he released a sex tape as part of his political campaign.
Well, at least there's an issue that people, there's lots of people that if a woman wants to sell her body, they go ahead for it,
So what's your take on prostitution, Adin?
I mean, I've never done it.
I mean, are you in favor for?
I always say
should there
let
be
people,
legalized prostitution?
If women or men are gonna sell their bodies, just let them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, it's a free country.
I will say there was an underrated Will Ferrell movie called The Campaign, and it's good, but people thought at the time it was a little too ridiculous for what going on. But looking back at it, it's kind of set the tone for what was to come, so to speak.
I will say this: Mike Ickes does look like Johnny Sins.
Maybe he
Who's that?
used to. Oh,
Who's who?
Who's that?
I wouldn't look him up.
Do you know who Johnny Sins is, Marcos?
Who's that?
He is a prominent,
He's a prominent
adult star.
Okay, just think about it. He's a teacher, he's a cop, he's a detective, he's an astronaut, a firefighter.
Oh, he's one of those like
scientist.
He's brilliant, dude.
Brilliant guy. Look him up. Johnny
Brilliant
Sins,
man.
one of the greatest men in this country.
What does he do?
He's also been a priest.
Yeah. He's also blessed many. He does bless women.
He does bless.
Is he 150 years old with all these careers, or?
No.
No.
He said them all at once.
Look him up.
Look
What
him
a
up.
legend.
Look him up.
Look.
Maybe I will.
All right. There we go. WTF is done. Terrifier 2 is making people throw up in movie theaters, and we have a congressman who just released a sex tape as part of his political campaign. We are living in idiocracy, but that is just the world we're in.
That's where our politics is going, man.
Hot takes on keys. So there we go. 1440 keys. It's the Sunday Sports Rush. Coming up next, we're going to pick some NFL games with Alex Weister. Get your text in here. We'll read them. 361-882-5397. Hour number 2 of the Sports Rush coming up after the break. Good morning, Corpus Christi Coastal Bend listeners worldwide. Welcome on into hour number 2 of the Sunday Sports Rush right here on News Talk KEYS 1440 AM and 98.7 FM. It is episode number 92. I am James Espinosa. We got Adin Ducker behind the glass.
Cougars, I love Cougars.
We got Marroquin with us, and we are having a damn good time. We're coming up here at 10:30, so later on in about 30 minutes' time, we're going to have Tony Catalina of Blogging the Boys. He's going to help us break down some Cowboys versus Eagles on Sunday Night Football, which you can hear right here on News Talk KEYS, 7:30 kickoff and 6:30 pregame. Here in about 15 minutes, we're going to break down Cowboys and Eagles in depth between us here in the studio. So we got a lot of NFL coming up here in hour number 2, a lot of Cowboys and Eagles talk coming up. But now it's time to welcome on our good friend, all the way up in Denton, Texas, in the DFW, it is Alex Weister.
What's up, boys?
Good morning, Alex. So good to hear your voice, man. So good to hear your voice. Are you ready to pick some games?
Well, what's the standings
Yes,
real
I
quick?
am.
All right.
Real quick, it's actually raining up here in the DFW for the first time in a while.
Nice.
Yeah.
It seems like the tears of the Braves, Yankees, and Dodgers fans are falling pretty hard right now.
Yeah, hopefully it's
Love it.
Hopefully it ends up being your tears in terms of pick 'em.
And hopefully it ends up being Philadelphia tears as well. So check this out. Here are the latest updated standings in NFL Pick'em after 5 weeks. I am currently in first place with 23 total wins. Last week I went 9-1. I nailed my Cowboys upset, which gave me 3 extra points. I have 23 wins total. Alex, you're in second place with 22 total wins. Last week you went 5-3, so pretty respectable week. Adin is in third place with 21 wins. Last week Adin was 7-3 also, and he nailed his upset with the Jets.
Go
pick.
Jets.
Marcos went 3-5 last
I did
week.
horrible.
and you have 8 total wins. But you joined us late, so
Yeah, listen, I'm not here for the total stats. I'm trying to catch up.
yeah, it's all good. So that's where we're at. It's a tight race.
As long as you don't have the lowest win percentage, Marcos, you're good.
And let's go ahead and let's pick some games. The first game that we are going to pick is the Bailey Zappi-led Patriots, 2-3, at the Cleveland Browns, who are also 2-3. The Browns are 2.5-point favorites at home. I'll toss this one to Alex. Who wins this game? Alex, are you there?
Oh, yeah, my bad. There's actually some key players missing for the Browns in this game in Denzel Ward and Jadeveon Clowney. Now, we haven't heard much of Jadeveon Clowney recently, but still, he is a key part on that Browns defense. While I think Bailey Zappi has done well for the Patriots, I don't think it is going to be enough to beat this Browns team, so I'm going to take the Browns in this one.
All right. I thought Alex was going to do it, but he didn't. And the Patriots, even last year, they played well in October into November, and they came off a really impressive win against the Lions. I know the Lions are 1-3 entering, but they absolutely dominated them, and I think they're going to carry that momentum into a Cleveland team that I thought was going to win 7 or 8 games no matter what, and this is going to be one of their losses. And I'm going to put it as my upset pick. Give me the Pats over the Browns.
Oh, man, you know what? This was one that I was really thinking about making my upset pick as well.
We all know what upset pick you're gonna make.
I honestly have no idea what I'm doing.
Alex, me and Marcos agree that James is playing a game.
I went 9-1 last week, guys. I am on a hot streak here. I don't know which way I'm gonna go. I'm a wild card.
Alex, we all know where he's gonna go.
Aiden's picking the Patriots. Marcos, who do you got?
I got the Browns. Look for Amari Cooper to feast. He's dominated every home game that they've had. And they're playing at home. I'm looking at patterns, and I think he's going to dominate, and I think the Browns are going to come out with a dub.
No, I will agree. Belichick usually tries to take away one facet of the offense, and I think he's going to key in on the run game. I think he's going to focus on Chubb first. I think he's going to kind of let Brissett throw a little bit.
I'm going to go ahead and pick the Browns as well at home. So there we go. That wraps up the first part. Jags at Colts is our next game. The Jaguars are 2-3. The Colts are 2-1. The Colts are 1.5-point favorites at home. I know the Colts can be very boring, but they're also Jekyll and Hyde. You never know which one you're going to get. The Jags, we were talking so good about the Jags last weekend, and then they had a dud of a game. Oh, man, this is going to be tough for me to pick.
Wait, didn't they already play each other?
No.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, did they?
Wait, did they?
Yeah, it was week 2,
right? Yeah, it was in like week 3.
Oh, man, hold up.
Man,
you're right about that.
They already played each other.
Yeah,
wow.
The Jaguars beat the Colts 24-0 in week 2 in Jacksonville. I'm going to go ahead. I think the Jags have the Colts' number. Give me the Jags. Alex, who do you got?
The Colts are really banged up. I was looking at the injury reports. Theirs is not the longest, not by a mile. I'll get to some of those later on in this list, but they are still pretty banged up, and I think this is a week for the Jags to rebound and get back to 500.
All righty. Marcos, who do you got?
I got the Jags as my upset pick.
Oh, there we go. Jags is the upset pick. That's a good one right there. I like it. Good stuff right there, Marcos. Aiden, who do you got?
Man, the Jags. I still think they're an improved team overall. Way better than they were last year, but oh man, the Colts have been very disappointing, but
I can't trust Matt Ryan, bro.
The Colts just might be the most boring team of all time.
I cannot trust Matt Ryan.
Get him off of prime
time.
And
Jonathan Taylor's not playing today.
Yeah, give me the Jags.
Or Nyheim Hines.
So there we go. They are injury depleted. It's a clean sweep, Jags and Colts. Let's go ahead. We're heading down to New Orleans. It's Bengals at Saints. The Saints coming off of a huge win last weekend against the Seahawks. The Bengals are 2-3. The Saints are 2-3. The Bengals are 3-point favorites on the road in New Orleans. I'll start with Aiden.
This is gonna be kind of like a repeat of early in the season with the Bucks and Saints. It's gonna kind of be like that with the Bengals winning this one. I can see them winning like a score of like 20-10 or something like that. The Bengals defense is they've been like top 5 in the league. Like they're a really good defense this year. They're carrying on from what they did in the postseason last year. And the Saints, man, they just disappointed me. I know every time I pick 4 against them, they always
Do the
bite my
opposite.
rear end.
They
Yeah.
always do the opposite of what you pick, right?
So maybe I want to pick the Bengals so they lose. But I'll do it one more time. Give me the Bengals.
All right. Let's go with Alex, Saints fan. What do you got?
I cannot believe you said this was going to be a low-scoring game, Baden. I'm really upset you're going to make me pick this game because we're about to get absolutely blown out by the Bengals.
Wow.
We are so injury depleted. Our defense is missing so many players. Lattimore, we're missing safeties. Everybody's banged up. And then on offense, we're missing Olave, Landry, Michael Thomas. Our offensive line is banged up. Their defense is playing well. Ours isn't. Their offense is playing well. Ours isn't.
I wouldn't say
it's a really bad matchup for us.
I wouldn't say the Bengals offense is playing well. The only time they really looked like themselves was against the Jets. They've been all right. They haven't been up to their potential.
They haven't been
Our
blowing people
defense
out.
is a get-right defense. People play us and look, okay, we're going to get right against this defense because we're not good. We're
What-
just simply not good.
What if it's the Taysom Hill show again? I mean, last week he went off.
Not
So
against
what?
the Bengals.
I literally tweeted, this happens once every year. Don't worry about it.
It happens like once or twice every
you got the Bengals
Taysom
basically.
Hill shows up. We
Yes,
remember
we
that
are
he
about to get
exists,
blown out by the Bengals.
and then he disappears.
All right, Marcos, go ahead.
Marcos, who do you got?
Give me the Bengals.
Give me the Bengals. Clean sweep. Bengals.
Clean sweep.
Clean sweep. All right, this one is kind of intriguing simply because of the record that one of the teams has. It's the 3-2 Ravens at the 4-1 Giants. The surprising 4-1 Giants who are coming off of a win against the Packers in London last week. Baltimore is 5.5-point favorites on the road. That's kind of a big line right there. I'm going to do something here. Give me the Giants as my upset pick of the week.
Wow, you really did it.
Wow. You
You
traitor.
made a big mistake with this
I'm
one.
going with the Giants. I like what Dable's doing. I like Wink Martindale as the defensive coordinator. Wink's going against his old team. If there's anybody that knows how to stifle Lamar Jackson, I think Wink Martindale could at least put something together and help this Giants defense. This Giants defense ain't terrible. Saquon's been playing pretty good. I like the Giants in a close game at home.
Yeah, that was a nice little soliloquy there, James. And you know what? Lamar's going to wink right back at the Giants holding this dub. Give me the Ravens.
I like that. I like that.
The Giants haven't faced a quarterback as dynamic as Lamar this year.
What do you mean they face Cooper Rush?
You know what I meant. A dynamic quarterback.
Oh, sorry. I was just speaking for all Cowboys fans who are in love with Cooper Rush, but all right.
Give me
continue.
the rate. The Giants are a good story. They're improved, but I thought they were an 800 team, and they have to eventually fall off somewhere. So why not? Why not now? Fall off right now. Give me the
Marcos,
Ravens.
who do you got?
If I was a betting man, I'd take the Giants with the spread, but I got the Ravens.
Okay, and let's go ahead and finish it off with Alex.
I got the Ravens as well. The Giants have absolutely no wide receivers, so the Ravens secondary doesn't have to worry about getting burnt too badly. As long as they can key on Saquon and lock up that run game and the offense can get going for the Ravens, I think they'll win this one pretty
They're not
handedly.
going to be able to stop that Wildcat package of the Giants.
That's nuts.
Lamar's
I can't believe how effective that is.
Lamar is his own Wildcat package.
Bunch of Wildcats out there today. Vikings at Dolphins is our next game. Vikings are 4-1. Dolphins are 3-2. Vikings are 3-point favorites on the road. Teddy Bridgewater's not playing. Skylar Thompson is going to start for the Dolphins. I put this game on the list because it was one of the closer point spreads.
Yeah, I can go real quick.
Go for it.
I thought I guess this O'Connell's actually improved this Vikings team. I know they look bad against the Eagles, but outside of that, they've been pretty sharp on offense. And the Dolphins have been meh since Tua's been out. I guess Tua has that Brady, Jimmy G quality. He's not as handsome. He is not as handsome as they are, but he still inspires his team no matter what.
Slightly handsome.
He's good. He's better looking than me and you and Alex and Marcos.
That's not saying much.
Whoa.
That's not
I'm
saying
being
much.
honest here, Marcos.
So who do you got?
Give me the Vikings.
Alex.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Vikings as well. When I was looking at the injury report for the Dolphins, this is one of the teams I was hinting at. They have half a roster on their injury report. Now, of course, some of those are playing, but still, it's the fact that at least half of the roster was either limited or didn't practice at one point through the week is really crazy to me. And I think with how banged up they are and how little banged up the Vikings are, I think they're going to take this one pretty easily.
Mike McDaniel brought that quality in San Francisco where he doesn't know how to win without a starting quarterback. So, that's another point I want to make.
Marcos, who do you got?
Give me the Vikings.
And yeah, man, I think I'm going to go the Vikings as well. Clean sweep. All right, next one. Cardinals at Seahawks. This is actually kind of an intriguing game. Both teams are 2-3. The Cardinals are favorites, -2.5 on the road in Seattle. We've been seeing Geno Smith put up some pretty good numbers. The Cardinals are still one of these weird teams that you can just never trust. I mean, they look good one week, they look bad the next week. You never know what you're going to get out of that offense.
The Cardinals have been putrid at home, and I know this because I had Kyler Murray and James Conner.
Well, they're on the road against the Seahawks.
They're on the road, and we're going to get a Kyler Murray masterclass. This is the game that he's going to give me. He's going to give me a big performance in fantasy football. Give me the Cardinals.
All right, Marcos.
I'm riding with Geno. Give me the Seahawks.
There we go.
Their defense is atrocious, but I like Geno Smith. I like what he's done. So give me the Seahawks.
Okay, Alex.
You say I got fleeced. I say I'm a mastermind. I traded Geno away. This train is not going to ride forever. It's going to stop at some point, and it's going to stop here with the Cardinals.
Why you got to kill my vibe,
Their defense
bro?
was effective against Jalen Hurts, which is a massive thing to do because he's been great all season. Both teams are completely beat up looking at the list of injuries. I mean, both of them were at least 20 players long. And looking at it, just the Seahawks had the more key players that were hurt, so I'm going to take the Cardinals.
All right. Man, damn it, dude. Okay, it comes down to me. I am going to put a little bit of faith in Kyler Murray. He's the better quarterback, offensive weapon. I think they do right the ship a little bit this week. Give me the Cardinals. All right. Bills at Chiefs in the game of the day, in my opinion.
This is at noon, right?
This is a 3:25.
Oh, 3:20. Okay,
3:25 kickoff. Bills 4-1 at Chiefs 4-1. The Bills are 2.5-point favorites on the road in Arrowhead. I'm going to start here first. It's in Arrowhead. It's going to be rocking. It's going to be rolling. I expect a classic, but I think this is going to be one of those Mahomes games where he absolutely goes off. I'm not saying that Josh Allen won't go off. Not saying he won't get his numbers. So, Diggs will probably get his as well. But I just have the Chiefs at home. Give me the Chiefs.
I'll go real quick. I had the Bills as the number 1 seed and best record in the league with like 14 wins, and this is a game they have to win to get that. So give me the Bills.
Okay, Alex.
I'm surprised y'all let this fall into my hands. I'm going to take this as the Chiefs upset over the Bills.
Wow, this is your upset special?
Yes, it is. I mean, Patrick Mahomes and that team is still really, really good. And when you look at the Bills, they're missing some really good players on defense and both of their safeties. And they still have not seen their star corner come back. So I think the Bills are going to fall a close one to the Chiefs.
What about you, Marcos?
I really like this Bills team. And that pains me to say as a Texans fan because we had a mini rivalry as the only playoff win that we've had in a while.
Mini rivalry.
Yeah, as a Texans fan. I don't think Bills fans think of it as a rivalry.
That's like saying it's a rivalry between the Panthers and the Saints.
I think about it as a rivalry because we beat them, and we haven't beat many people lately. But I got the Bills.
Okay. We all need something, I suppose. We all need something. Alex, give us your Cowboys pick, and then we got to hit the break.
Well, can you stay on? Do you want me to stay on?
No, I got to go to run some errands real quick after this.
Make your Cowboys and Eagles pick. The Cowboys are 6.5-point road underdogs tonight.
Dogs.
This game is going to be an absolute dogfight. It's a really tough game to pick. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to take the Eagles, but I will not be surprised if the Cowboys win this game. We've seen that the Eagles are flawed. We've seen what their flaws are. So I think the Cowboys can exploit that, but I think the Eagles are going to take this in a close one like they did against the Cardinals last week.
There we go, Alex Weister. Well, that's going to wrap up our picks. We will make our picks here momentarily in the next segment, but Alex, thank you for joining us, man. We appreciate that. Keep kicking ass up there at UNT, and we will catch up with you shortly.
Yes, sir. Talk to y'all next week.
All righty. There goes Alex Weister. That wraps up our NFL Pick'em. When we come back, we'll dive a little bit more into Cowboys and Eagles. Hit us up on the text line. Give us your predictions. Who wins Sunday Night Football? It's Cowboys. It's Eagles. 361-882-5397. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Sunday Sports Rush, episode number 92. It's James Espinosa. It's Adin Ducker. It's Marcos Marroquin. We just made our NFL picks. We got George D in here on the text line, 361-882-5397. Shout out to George for getting in. George says, good morning, gentlemen. Cowboys win 21-17. You guys rock. So do the Astros. Great show. Thank you, George D. It's an Astros victory Sunday. It's a Cowboys game day Sunday. We appreciate you getting in, my man. If you want to get in, hit us up, 361-882-5397. Make your Cowboys and Eagles predictions right now. Do it now. Now, I say, now. Send in those texts. All right. Let's talk Cowboys and Eagles because that is the big game tonight. Cowboys are 4-1. The Eagles are 5-0. This is a pivotal NFC East matchup. It's a pivotal game in the NFC period as the Eagles are the number 1 seed. Eagles are the lone unbeaten team remaining in the NFL. The last time Dallas was 4-1 and Philadelphia was 5-0, the last time they met up with the records of 4-1 or better was in 1994. So they haven't played a game with these particular records, 4-1 or better, since 1994.
And also, probably the last time the division was stacked.
The NFC beast is back. The beast.
Remember, because you had the Giants winning the Super Bowl in the early 90s. You had at the time the Redskins winning in the early 90s. The Eagles were stout under Buddy Ryan. Then you had the Cowboys.
Here are some by the numbers real quick. The Cowboys have won 8 consecutive games over the NFC East, the longest active win streak against one's own division. Dallas has not allowed any of its 5 opponents to reach 20 points this season. The first time a Cowboys team has held its first 5 opponents to 19 points or less since 1972. And this defense is really damn good, guys. We saw it last week against the Rams. They stifled that attack. They battered Matthew Stafford. They forced 3 turnovers. And tonight, it's going to be up to the defense once again because you're going against Jalen Hurts at quarterback, A.J. Brown at receiver, Devonta Smith at receiver, Miles Sanders at running back, Dallas Goedert at tight end. The Eagles are stacked skill player-wise. It's going to be a great matchup to see that Eagles offense against the Cowboys defense.
And then real quick, the comments back and forth between Jason Peters and Jason Kelsey. Jason Peters, a longtime Eagles offensive lineman.
Yeah.
And really backing up the boys here. Kind of spoke against Eagles fans. I think that's going to inflame tensions between both teams and both fan bases. As Alex said, I expect this to be a stalemate at times in the interior. It's going to be a slugfest, grind it out. Man, I'm excited to see this game.
I am very excited about this game. Marcos, what are your thoughts on this game?
It's gonna be a tough one to watch. You know, it might not be the most electrifying game that's gonna happen this weekend, but it'll be a good one. You know, it'll be a very good fundamental football game. You know, you got the Eagles, who are primarily a run team, play good defense. You know, it's not going to be a shootout. It's not going to be a shootout, especially still with Cooper Rush out there. You know, the Cowboys playing good defense. It's going to be a brawler.
Yeah, I expect a nice slugfest tonight. Dallas ranks 10th in the NFL in third down defense, allowing its opponents to convert on 33.8% of third down plays. Conversely, the Eagles' offense has the 6th highest third down conversion percentage at 43%. So Dallas' stout third down defense. The Eagles have a good third down offense. What's going to give tonight? That's going to be something to keep your eye on. Another thing to keep an eye on real quickly, we're going to make our picks. The Cowboys' red zone offense is absolutely pathetic. Since week 2 when Cooper Rush took over, they went from 100% in the red zone to week 3, 50%, to week 4, 33%, to week 5, 0%. The red zone offense is decreasing as the weeks go by with Cooper Rush leading as the quarterback of the Cowboys. Cowboys need touchdowns tonight. You're not going to win with field goals. I mean, you might, maybe, but it's not the ideal situation. All right, let's go ahead and make our picks. Adin, you're up.
It's going to be a stalemate slugfest at times. Probably, I think both defenses are going to show up more not than both offenses. Give me the Eagles 20-16. It's in Philly if I'm mistaken.
That is in Philly.
Yeah, they're going to feed off of that crowd. It's going to be high, but they stand their ground at home. Give me Eagles 20-16.
Marcos.
Give me Eagles 24-17.
Okay.
Do it, James. You know you want to. Come on. The Cowboys are 4-1. Back your boys up. You picked them against the Rams.
Tom Landry.
As much as I want to back up Dallas tonight,
come on, you do it, James.
I do think that the glass slipper slips off Cooper Rush's foot, and I think tonight we see Cooper Rush turn into a pumpkin.
Oh my God.
That was good.
Give me the Eagles to win tonight, 21-13 over the Cowboys.
You're wearing a Dallas Cowboys t-shirt.
I am, but I got to be an objective journalist.
Love the Cinderella reference there.
And I don't feel good about the offense right now, man. And I think the Eagles are going to just do enough. And I think the Cowboys offense is going to struggle. We've laid down the numbers already. I think the glass slipper falls off tonight. Eagles win this game 21-13.
Wow.
It hurts for me to pick it, but hey, I have to pick it. Coming up next, we do have Tony Catalina on the line of Blogging the Boys. He's going to help us break down Cowboys and Eagles a little bit more. It's Cowboys and Eagles. It's Tony Catalina coming up after the break. Welcome back to the Sunday Sports Rush, episode number 92. We appreciate y'all taking us wherever you're going here on this Sunday morning. It is a Cowboys game day on Keys. Your official home of the Cowboys here in Corpus Christi and the Coastal Bend. 7:30 kickoff tonight on these airwaves, 6:30 pregame. Make sure you give us a listen. It's Cowboys-Eagles. It's Sunday Night Football. It's going to be a hell of a time tonight. We're ready for it. You know who's also ready for the game tonight? That would be Nucky's Cocktail Bar down in Kingsville, Texas, 1406 North 14th Street. This is your game day destination. Happy hour all day on Sunday. All NFL games on their multiple, beautiful flat screen TVs. Everything is popping in there. Freshest handmade cocktails. Texas craft beer and domestics on draft, and of course their food truck with their mouth-watering wings. It's 1406 North 14th Street down in Kingsville, Texas. Nucky's Cocktail Bar. We appreciate you guys sponsoring the show. All right, without further ado, it is Cowboys and Eagles. It is one of the biggest regular season games we've had in quite a while. The implications are out there. We all know what's on the line tonight. Week 6, early season matchup. NFC East, who's going to be in firm lead once the conclusion of this game is over. I thought there was no better person to talk to than our good friend, Tony Catalina of Blogging the Boys. Tony, good morning.
Good morning, James. How are you?
Hey, man, I am doing fantastic. We're all revved up down here, man. I'm pretty sure you're feeling it, too. It's good to have you on. Cowboys and Eagles were here. And, Tony, I mean, who would have thought? Dak Prescott goes down week 1. Cowboys ring off 4 straight wins with Cooper Rush as the starting quarterback. The defense is playing absolutely out of their minds. It's 4-1 Cowboys at 5-1 Eagles. My man, just what's on your mind this morning as we head into this game?
You know, you're absolutely right. If anybody thought that we'd be sitting here with Cooper Rush at the helm, I challenge to think that you're lying. So this is a huge football game, ahead of us here. The Cowboys have a real opportunity to kind of do 2 things here, right? To keep the good times rolling with Cooper Rush before Dak gets back in here, which should be, maybe in the next week or 2. That remains to be seen exactly when. But at the same time, you take a shot at the Eagles here and maybe take a stab at their legitimacy. I know everybody sees them as the darling of the season early on, but if the Cowboys come out there and play with the same recipe they've had over the last month or so, it should be an interesting battle between the 2 teams that really don't like each other.
Oh, yeah, man. I'm looking forward to this so much tonight. You mentioned, of course, historical rivalry between 2 franchises, the city of Philadelphia, Dallas. We all know what that's all about. You did bring up, of course, Cooper Rush, right, who has been the starting quarterback for the past 4 games. 4-0 as a quarterback. You could take quarterback stats however you like, right? It is a stat out there that people will reference. I want to know, Tony, why do you think there's a sect of Cowboys fans out there who are so enamored with what Cooper Rush has done that they're willing to say that Cooper Rush should start over Dak Prescott when Dak is eventually healthy?
I think, not to come at the fan base a little bit, but I think people get, prisoner of the moment sometimes. I think the most popular player on a football team that has some turmoil is the backup quarterback. So when Cooper Rush comes in and he plays, you don't even say like he plays well, right? He does his role. He lets the defense do their thing, and he just protects the football. You get fans in that right. So I think there's some people that are a little superstitious and don't want to rock the boat, and what's working, if it isn't broke, don't fix it. But at the same time, we have a guy healing up in Dak Prescott that is clearly head and shoulders more a better quarterback, a better fit for this team. And when he's healthy, you have to go out there. So I can appreciate people excited and grateful for the way Rush has played, but the talk of him taking Dak's job is silly at this point.
It is pretty silly, man. And, you know, I've heard it down here. I've heard it from some of our listener base that will text in and interact with us. And there are some people who want Cooper to remain the quarterback. And, you know, you mentioned if it's not broke, don't fix it. And that's what some of these fans are thinking. But the offense is broken, Tony. They're the 27th ranked offense in the NFL. You look at some of their stats here, and a bunch of them are 25th or below. They're a bottom third offense in a bunch of major categories. So, I mean, I get what that fan base wants. They want to stick with the hot hand. But, I mean, Dak Prescott, when he is back, he's going to bring this offense to another level.
Oh, without a doubt. I think, you kind of hit the nail on the head when you mentioned being at the bottom of the league in all statistical measures for offense. Last year, this was the number one offense in the entire league. I know it's a different dynamic, and there's obviously different parts in this, but this offense can be more prolific, and it will be more prolific when Dak Prescott gets back. So, you know, the way this defense is playing, even getting timely plays from the special teams, has really been a really good recipe for this team to continue and win while Cooper Rush is there. You know, coupled with the fact that he's not turning the ball over. So if you really want to give Rush credit, it's that right there. The fact that he's not turning the football over is really the testament to his how he's playing. But this offense needs to be better if they want to go further, and that will be with Dak Prescott out there.
And you're right about that, Tony. You know, we're not trying to bag on Cooper Rush. You know, when the time comes when Dak does eventually take his starting job back, you're going to give Cooper Rush a firm handshake and tell him, hey, man, you did a hell of a job out there. Thank you for keeping this ship afloat. What Cooper Rush does do well is he doesn't turn the ball over. Like you said, the Cowboys are number one right now in not turning the ball over with Cooper Rush. So that just adds up to this recipe that we've seen so far here in the last 4 weeks. We're with Tony Catalina of Blogging the Boys. Tony, you mentioned the defense, man. Absolutely phenomenal. 19 points or less in all 5 games this season as the Cowboys defense. What have you seen different with this defense this year as opposed to last year's defense?
You know, I think the thing is, I think it's the comfortability within Dan Quinn's system. I think they're a really deep unit. I think, you know, safety and secondary specifically is probably one of the bigger strengths of this team. And a couple of years ago, we couldn't have said that about a Dallas Cowboys football team. I think the pass rush has been phenomenal. Getting things from Dorrance Armstrong and Dante Fowler seemed to be a solid signing in the free agency period. So you're just seeing a team that is playing together. And we've seen other players talk about it throughout the media through the week. When Dak Prescott went down, it made a heightened emphasis for the other guys around to step up and kind of just do their role better and just kind of continue to kind of keep this team in this season on the rails. And that defense has really done that for this team.
Micah Parsons, of course, absolute stud. We all know that. NFL offenses, they all know to watch out for number 11. Who's been your unsung hero of this defense that maybe should get more shine than he already does?
You know what? It's somebody that I definitely this offseason was not talking too much about myself, so I'm guilty of it, but Donovan Wilson needs to get his credit and all the due that we can give to him. When Jaron Kearse was out, Donovan Wilson stepped in, was that physical presence in the secondary, was able to play and do different things for this team and be multiple. So Donovan Wilson's just another cog in that defensive unit and that secondary that's really surprised and been a good part of this team.
I love what I've seen out of him, man. He's always there to make a play. He's always there to make a tackle. You know, he's a fiery dude, and he'll lay the wood on your ass. I love what I've seen out of Donovan Wilson. You know, Dorrance Armstrong, you mentioned him earlier. It seems like he's always in there. He's always putting pressure, and then he's always getting a timely sack or two. It's been amazing to see Dorrance, especially this season, kind of emerge into the opposite bookend, that, you know, opposite of Lawrence and just being another guy on that pass rushing unit.
Without a doubt, I think Jerry Jones and the front office were big fans of Dorrance Armstrong before, like, we really saw the development ourselves. They understand, and we understand, that they offered Randy Gregory a contract, so they definitely wanted Gregory in the fold.
But I think no matter what, there was going to be a role and an opportunity for Dorrance Armstrong on this team. And now that he's at it this year, he's really taken, his opportunity and made the most of it, whether it be a special teams demon where he's making plays there or just being one of the team's leader in sacks. Like, you can't say enough good things about Dorrance Armstrong so far.
Mike McCarthy, right, switching gears here up a little bit. Mike McCarthy has been the ire of some Cowboys fans out there. And, I've criticized McCarthy before, and I'm pretty sure we all have to some degree. But Mike McCarthy, his name is starting to float around in early Coach of the Year talks. He's at least a early season candidate. Do you think Big Mike needs some flowers? Do you think people should start giving Big Mike his flowers, or are we still in a little bit of wait and see here?
It's funny. I think that's just kind of how NFL goes, and us in the media kind of handle things. I think Mike McCarthy hasn't done anything different than he probably has his entire coaching career. He keeps the locker room together. He understands what the objective is, and he kind of projects that through his team. You've got to give him a little respect in the sense that when Dak Prescott goes down in week 1 in the first game, things could go a little haywire within that locker room, and he didn't allow it. You got to give credit to Kellen Moore, Dan Quinn, the whole staff for being able to keep this thing together and just believing in Cooper Rush and making that call because, myself included, there were some people that were looking at Will Grier in training camp and seeing if he was the better option. But ultimately, this team stuck to their guns, and now we're sitting here in an opportunity where the Cowboys is right square in the middle of everything.
We're here with Tony Catalina of Blogging the Boys on the Sunday Sports Rush, episode number 92. All right, Tony, let's get down to brass tacks here. Tonight is Sunday Night Football. It's Eagles and Cowboys. Are you worried about Jalen Hurts and this Eagles offense? Do you think the Dallas defense can continue this hot streak?
The thing is, you said it there. It's a hot streak, but at the same time, I think this is who this defense is. I think, no disrespect to Jalen Hurts. The Cowboys have and they will play better quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts is doing what this Eagles team is asking of him. He's being able to run and use his legs, but he's been a little better in the passing game. Ultimately, Jalen Hurts as a whole isn't something that really too worries me. It's more since he's got some ability to do other things that are interesting, but this defense is well equipped with athletes and playmakers and a plan from Dan Quinn that I think that the Cowboys defense might be something this Eagles offense hasn't really seen yet this year.
DeMarcus Lawrence actually had some comments this week. They were asking him about Jalen Hurts this, Jalen Hurts that, and DeMarcus Lawrence took a little bit of issue with that towards the Dallas media. And he said that, paraphrasing here, but essentially that DeMarcus Lawrence was saying that they got to worry about us. They got a game plan for us, So I can tell already that the defense is kind of already, they've been hearing the hype on the Eagles. They've been hearing the Jalen Hurts talk. And I think tonight we're going to see, the defense play a pretty damn good game.
Yeah, I kind of laugh when you say that because that's DeMarcus Lawrence in a nutshell, right?
Yeah.
He's the guy, he's not afraid to say what he feels and how and he goes out there and he plays. And he goes out there and backs up everything he says. So you're right. I think within that locker room and that defensive unit, they're probably tired of hearing the offense or the Eagles is this and Eagles that. So, yeah, I'm really interested to see what kind of motivation and how they come out and play tonight.
I love to hear it, though. You know what I mean? You need guys, you need leaders like that to speak confidently and to, give that sense of, hey, yeah, they're good, but we're better. At least they feel they're better. So I'm just so looking forward to tonight's game, man. We're with Tony Catalina, Blogging the Boys. Tony, last one here, my guy, and we got to let you go. The Cowboys win tonight because, and the Cowboys lose tonight because. How do you see that playing out?
So the Cowboys win tonight doing exactly what they have been doing, right? Playing really good defense, and, Cooper Rush is doing what's asked of him. Being able to run the football, make timely receptions, and kind of protecting the football. So the recipe that the Cowboys have travels right now. This is a team that can win anywhere against any opponent if you just do the right things. And the way this team loses is kind of the opposite. If Cooper Rush is turning the football over and making bad decisions or poor decisions, this team is the number one stat that we talked about before is Cooper Rush hasn't turned it over. If that changes and some of those things start to rear their ugly head, then the Cowboys will be a little bit in trouble because this offense we already talked about is not prolific and they don't really do too well or had to do too well if they get down. But yeah, there's some things here that could be interesting tonight. But if they come out with their same recipe, I think the Cowboys can come up victorious.
An interesting note here is that the Cowboys' offense has only they've only had the ball trailing 12 minutes out of the entire season. So they've been playing with leads. They've been protecting it, So if they do get down, it's going to be interesting to see how that Cowboys offense responds. All right, prediction time, Tony.
All right. So for me, I know there were some rumblings about Dak Prescott playing it, and obviously that would change the way I feel about it if he did. And we're all pretty confident saying that Dak will not be out there. It will be Rush. But I believe in this defense. I think they're going to wake some people up, and I think we're going to end up with a 23-16 Cowboys victory tonight.
There we go, Tony, man. Hey, we appreciate you, dude, jumping on and, of course, giving us your time and your energy this morning. We love talking to you about the Cowboys, and we'll definitely catch up later on as the season progresses.
Absolutely, James. I appreciate it, guys.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Tony. Have a good rest of your morning, my guy. We'll speak soon.
You too. Take care.
All righty. There goes Tony Catalina of Blogging the Boys. Follow all their podcasts. Go to bloggingtheboys.com. These guys are so locked in. You will not miss any Cowboys news if you go to Blogging the Boys. Love it.
He was great, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's awesome. He's one of my favorite interviews. Love Tony. Love the knowledge that he has. All right, guys. We got one more segment left. I got a couple of other news items to get to, some more sports stuff in the last segment, so stick around. It's the Sunday Sports Rush. Welcome back to the Sunday Sports Rush, episode number 92. James Espinosa, Adin Ducker, and Marroquin with you this morning. It's the last segment. Shout out to Tony Catalina of Blogging the Boys for joining us to talk some Cowboys and Eagles. I always love talking to Tony. We'll have our show immediately podcasted on 1440keys.com. Hit the podcast tab on our website. Scroll on down. You'll see the Sunday Sports Rush. Click that. It'll take you to all our podcasts. We're also on Spotify as well. So search for us on Spotify at Sunday Sports Rush. All of our episodes archived for your listening pleasure. Hitting the text line real quickly. 361-882-5397. We have Matt Matney in the text line. Matt says, OG I am ESPN family. Shout out. He says, Packers win easily today and begin at least a 6-game winning streak. Whoa. Love the show, fellas. Keep it up. Shout out, Matt. Appreciate you listening this morning, man.
Resident Packers fan.
He's a Packers fan. He's a I am ESPN OG in our sports group on Facebook. Love that. Shout out to Matt for listening. I appreciate that, man. Appreciate that so much. All right. Last segment of the show. It's kind of just a grab bag of sports, right? Kind of. I used to call I do call this segment Sports Grab Ass because that's what we're doing. We're just grabbing sports' ass and talking about it.
Yeah,
all right?
It's the only ass I'd be able to. Never mind.
Well, okay. All right. Last night, the Javelinas down in Kingsville, they continued their winning ways. They are now 7-0. They defeated UT Permian Basin 13-10. They had to come back and win this one also. Javelinas 7-0, man. 7-0. Next week, they travel to Angelo State, and that's going to be a battle for first place in the Lone Star Conference. So next week's matchup, a big matchup on the road. Only 4 more games left for the Javelinas this year. And it's looking like if they keep it up, they can make the Division II playoffs. So that's going to be awesome to see. Awesome to see right there. Another sports note. Sources out there are saying that the Panthers are listening for Christian McCaffrey trade offers. But it's being reported that the Panthers want multiple first-round picks for Christian McCaffrey. Come on.
Well, if you're the Bills, though.
But multiple first-round picks, that's a steep asking price.
When he's healthy, he is by far one of the best players in football.
When he's healthy. That's a big ask.
I really think that if you're the Bills, all you need, man, he can really open things up even more. And we already see the Bills know how to score. Just imagine, they just need like a running game.
They do need a running game, but is Christian really like a bruising back? I see him more as like a scat back. You know, he can do a little bit of everything, but I don't see him as a perennial give him the ball 25 times.
Arguably, that fits the Bills system even better with Josh Allen as their quarterback.
Well, that's true. He would be a hell of a weapon.
They would have to trade away Singletary and I don't know, maybe. I know James Cook is probably going to get more touches.
Yeah. But if he were to go to a team like the Bills, I think that would be pretty awesome. Or maybe a team like the Rams. But I know the Rams don't have too many draft picks, right?
They traded all that for
never
Ramsey,
mind. The Rams are done.
Von Miller.
So there we go. There we go. That's interesting to keep an eye on out there. Some more sports news. Let's go ahead and go into our Spurs talk because the NBA season actually starts this week. Were y'all aware of this?
Yeah, it starts Tuesday. Bro.
Yeah, Tuesday night, the NBA regular season begins. And we are the home of the Spurs. So let's go ahead and give some Spurs season predictions. Now, the over-under, according to Vegas, for Spurs wins is 22.5. That is the over-under that Vegas has. Let's go around the table. Marcos, are you taking the over or the under on 22.5 Spurs wins?
I got the over, but it'll be tough.
How much over are you willing to go?
Not much, but it only needs to be a little bit over to get the bet.
So how many wins are you saying?
I don't see them getting more than 30. 30 wins would be a struggle.
Oh, my God, dude.
30 wins would be a struggle.
Okay.
I got them sitting around 25.
Okay, so maybe like 25 and 57. That would be the record if that happens.
Sports Rush listeners, y'all should have seen the face James made when Marco said over. It looked like he got shocked by something.
I mean, yeah, a little bit. Aiden, are you going over or under 22.5 Spurs wins this year?
You know what? I think Pop has a little bit, I think there's a little bit of pride in Pop. I don't think they're going to tank completely, but I don't see them getting over 30 wins. Give me about 25, 24.
It's
Okay.
really not a tank, though, with all the young talent that we have. It's not like we're trying to lose. We're trying to develop our young talent.
I'll say this. They're going to beat the Lakers in every single game yet again this year.
I honestly wouldn't doubt it.
Okay, so you're going about 24 to 25 wins, same as Marcos, right, Aiden?
Yeah.
Okay, here's going to be my take on the Spurs this year. This is a tough one. It's 22.5 over under. I'm going to go under. I think they get 22. Okay. I think this is going to be one of the worst teams we're ever going to see out of the Spurs.
The good news is, though, I can afford to go up there and see
Let me just read to you the potential starting lineup here. Trey Jones at point guard. Devin Vassell starting guard. Doug McDermott shooting forward. Keldon Johnson power forward. Jakob Poeltl at center.
I would think Primo would start over Trey Jones.
On the bench, you have Josh Richardson, Romeo Langford, Keita Bates-Diop, Josh Primo, Isaiah Roby, Gorgie Dang, Zach Collins, Jeremy Sohan, Malachi Branham, Blake Wesley, Jordan Hall, and Dom Barlow.
Oh, man.
This roster is not inspiring.
Yeah.
They still have a few cuts to make to get the final roster, but I do think Josh Primo will be starting. I think he's going to be a really good guard for this team. But he's young, too. He's younger than some of our first-round draft picks this year. Yeah. But he already has a year under his belt. This is by far a developing year for the Spurs. Do look for Jeremy Sohan to be in the starting lineup at some point. You know, he's young, too, from overseas, you know.
Yeah, Baylor kid. Yeah, you're right about that.
I'm just not used to the Spurs being bad, man.
They're going to be a bottom 2 to 3 Western Conference team. They'll be down there with the Thunder. They'll be down there with the Jazz. Maybe the Rockets.
As long as they beat the Lakers in every game they play this year, that's a good season.
That's
going to
be tough.
It's going to be a sad season.
They can beat the Lakers again.
So I'm looking at this season preview for the Spurs by John Hollinger of The Athletic. He has key additions for the Spurs this offseason. Here are the key additions that the Spurs made this offseason. Power forward Isaiah Roby and center Gorgie Dang. Those are the key additions.
Yeah.
Wait, who's that?
Isaiah Roby and Gorgie Dang.
Is that only free agents? Because we had a pretty good draft.
Yeah, free agents.
James told this to me and Alex a week or two ago. He thinks the Lakers are making the Western Conference Finals.
Yes.
This guy.
They're not.
Oh, dude.
Next week we'll do a segment on our full NBA predictions, finals, MVPs, all that. All right? But I do think the Lakers are going to be better than expected.
They're not.
I'm expecting an Anthony Davis rebound year. I think we're going to see a more hungry Anthony Davis.
For them to be that successful, he's going to need to have an MVP type season.
I think we're going to see him have a pretty damn good season.
Dude, they don't look that much improved. Just based on the past couple
preseason. Does Patrick Beverly add that much to you to make the Western Conference Finals?
Maybe they sneak in the first round. I'll give them that. Maybe they get better, but that's it. That's their ceiling the first round.
What is it with me? Lakers, USC.
LeBron is not Cleveland, Miami Heat LeBron anymore. He can't carry a team by himself anymore.
And that's why Anthony Davis is going to do the job. All right, we'll talk more NBA next week, but Hey, episode 92 is in the books. We appreciate y'all guys getting in. Shout out to Tony Catalina of Blogging the Boys, Alex Weister for joining us on the line. Shout out to everybody who texted in, Nucky's Cocktail Bar for sponsoring the show. Adin Ducker, amazing job.
Oh!
Marcos Marroquin, I love you. Good job.
I love you too.
All right. That's the Sunday Sports Rush. No more questions. We'll talk to you next week.
Welcome to Safe Money and Income Radio with your host,